Hey everyone, I wanted to jump in and just make sure we were on the same page about skeletal drawings for organic structures. I'm not sure what you got in general chemistry, so in case that you need a refresher or you weren't taught this, let's just get on the same page. So let's just take a formula of C3H8. This is completely unsaturated. This is going to have 3 carbons, right? So 3 carbons. Then we're going to have hydrogens on each one of these. And we learned from our lecture videos today that each carbon has 2 bonds that are within the plane of the paper, and then it has these other 2. One is coming out towards us, which is this wedge, and then the dash is going behind the plane of the paper. We know that each carbon should have 4 bonds. This one's coming forward and this one's coming backwards. Again, the dash and the wedge should always be right beside each other. It makes for a nice drawing. What we drew here is actually propane. Now, organic chemists are lazy. So instead of drawing this, what we do is for each of the carbons, we actually just draw. There will be an end of a line. So when you have this line, really it's showing that there's a carbon here, and a carbon here. I don't actually have to draw in the hydrogens. This is signaling to any other chemist that this is indeed propane. And so it's assuming here that the N carbon is in fact a CH3. Okay, so CH3 is shorthand for having 3 hydrogens, right? If a carbon has 2 carbons attached to it, this carbon here that I have an orange dot on still has 2 bonds that aren't accounted for. And so this is actually CH2. Essentially what you're seeing is that we don't draw hydrogens in. We simply just draw in our carbons. And whatever hydrogens we need to make sure the carbon has 4 bonds, we just assume that it's there, okay? And so this is a really big key in organic chemistry. So in this molecule here is cyclohexane. And so each one of these is going to be a CH2. There's going to be 2 hydrogens coming off of each one of these. Now, again, you're going to have one coming forward and one going back. Notice that each of the carbons where I have the wedge and the dash form present has 1 wedge, 1 dashed, and 2 that are straight. This is for a tetrahedral carbon. Let's take, for example, a structure of benzene. We'll get into more functional groups and names of everything. But what I want you to know is that when you don't see hydrogens, they are there. And so when you look at this structure, let's look at this carbon here. This carbon here, how many bonds does it have? Well, right now it has 1, 2, 3 bonds to it already. So this carbon is only going to have 1 hydrogen. That's the case for each of the carbons on this one. You'll get better as you start to look at compounds to be able to just look at it and analyze it and know what's going on here. So here I have tetrahydrofuran. Don't worry about the name too much. We know that oxygen, again, should have an octet, right? So each bond gives it 2 electrons, and then it's going to have its 2 lone pairs. Remember that oxygen likes to make 2 bonds, and then it has 2 lone pairs, and that fulfills its octet to 8. Now this structure, though, has carbons, right? We've got a carbon here, carbon here, carbon here, carbon here. So there's 4 carbons on this structure. Each carbon has, let's see, there's a bond there and a bond there. So it has 2 bonds. That means it has 2 hydrogens that aren't drawn in. And you don't have to draw these hydrogens in. It's assumed that they are there. It's the skeletal structure. So what I have in green for tetrahydrofuran is totally fine. And you're going to see me do a lot of shorthand like this. So this is the same as this. Look how lazy organic chemists are, right? Hey everyone, Dr. Miles here. If you still have questions about this problem or a similar problem, comment below this video. Let me know what's going on in your head. How can I help? Also, if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up and make sure that you subscribe to this channel because I always have more videos coming out for help. Also, here's a few other videos for you. And did you get your free guide? Your free guide about the 9 most common mistakes I see in OChem? It's down below. All you have to do is download it right now. I will see you in the next video. Thanks for joining me.